The Singularity is the newest addition to the DBD family, and therefore the obligatory video about the killer pick rate changes is no surprise to you. Without further ado, let's go! Last but not least are the twins, -1 place, a pick rate of 0.91. They go up by 0.07%, but in the end it's still the twins. They're still bugged. Just encountered a hilarious bug lately where I couldn't move anymore when I kind of like went on as Victor. That was very fun. I had this bug twice in a row, which was also very lovely, and therefore the twins deserve the last place. I still like them though, but don't get me wrong, there's no banter anymore, but still, the twins need some bug fixes. I mean, pretty much ever since they released, to be fair. What is better than forever last? Right, forever second to last. Heck, place 30 drops 1 place because of the Singularity release. Her pick rate is 1.01, gains 0.14%. Luckily, she's now above the 1 percentile. Still, very, very boring killer overall. Despite the fact that I quite like her, right? I've seen the Oddstarver display where, you know, I saw a new perspective to how Hack is played, and ever since I quite enjoyed her more, right? I enjoyed her very, very more. But if you have killer that harass you all the time while you set up your traps, it's really, really frustrating. Long story short, Hack plays 30. Do we really need to talk about Freddy that much? He gains 0.22% in pick rate percentages, however he loses 2 places and now is our place number 29. It is rightfully deserved. He's a basic M1 killer and there's nothing to add really. In place number 28 we have the Artist. The Artist is by far my least played killer. I've only played her twice. She even comes behind killers such as Hillbilly or the Twins, for example, which I enjoy to a certain extent but don't like that much, so that's the thing. I don't like her playstyle that much. That's probably the most thing, or maybe I think she's too complicated for beginners, because her bird placement in loops is quite difficult to figure out, in my opinion. Do I think that way? I don't know. I don't really like the Artist. She always has like the smallest chunk of time in these videos, so I thought like, hey, let's talk about her a bit more. If you think that I should play the Artist more, please in the comments let me know why I should do that, because I'm very intrigued about your opinion about the Artist. It doesn't change the fact, however, that she's the 4th least played killer. Next up we have the Demogorgon. He drops 3 places, loses 0.34% in pick rate percentages, ending up at 1.64%. I still don't know what happened the last time around. You know, I told you that some of my Discord got him for free, and I don't think they've paid it, because otherwise they would have paid like over 100 bucks, and I don't think they've done it, quite frankly. But the thing is, I'm still baffled about what happened the last time around, where people got them for free, and they've just like did some more research, and apparently it is true that this has happened to a small amount of players, and that explains his increase the last time around. His drop there for now is very, very logical and reasonable in that regard. She drops 13 places to place number 26, loses 1.48% in pick rate percentages. She has the biggest position drop, and it's rightfully deserved. It's the Skull Merchant, and I'm absolutely done talking about her now. Our K-pop Artist revives itself a little. 0.33% gain, 1 position gain as well. It is the Trickster in our place number 25. I quite enjoyed him in the recent days. I think I say this every time, because whenever I play the Trickster I feel like, oh, that's so nice, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have crosshair, then I hate him again, and then I love him again, because I think his playstyle is quite fun. Not for the survivors, I guess, because I don't like playing against them. I just absolutely despise it, but despite the fact, he's really fun to play, at least for me. And if I had a crosshair, he would probably be one of my favorite killers in the entire game. Anyways, he's place number 20. Mid-season chapter brought quite some interesting changes to the Onryo, and she could actually catapult not only in kill rate, but also in pick rate percentages the next time we look at those stats. For the time being, she loses 4 places, she loses 0.34% in pick rate percentages, ending up at 2.05%, and I feel like for now we can't really take anything from those stats. Let's see where she ends up next time around, because I'm very intrigued to see that. By the way, I think these changes are absolutely interesting. Playing against the Plague feels like one of the worst things ever. I just can't really describe it. Maybe it's because I'm never playing Survivor Friends, like I'm mostly playing solo or duo queue. So that makes a big difference. But the Plague loses out 2 places. She loses 0.25% in pick rate percentages, ending up at 2.18%. But I couldn't be happier about this. Like, honestly, the Plague is one of the most annoying killers to me. Hands down. I don't know, do you have like streamers that you watch and then you're like, oh yeah, they're playing that killer, I definitely want to watch that game. And whenever the pick is on the screen of streamers, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to watch that game because I think pick games are so interesting in my opinion. I don't know why that is, I have freaking no idea. But when I ever see the pick on streamers' screens, I'm like, glued to the screen. I just want to see how the game evolves. She's placed number 22. She was the same last time around. She gains 0.12%. She ends up at 2.22%. And I think that's just lovely. I think there's nothing else to add. 0.2% up. 4 places up. Place number 29, formerly known as our place number 25, is the Dredge. Here's a weird one, right? The Executioner ends up at place 20, loses 2 places, and also loses 0.19% in pick rate percentage, ended up at 2.31%. And this is although he got buffed, right? He got buffed quite significantly in my opinion, and still loses out on pick rate percentages. And if we would look at the kill rates, which I don't do anymore on this channel, I will have a top 500 worst 5 as short, but more about this when the time arises. I wanted to say that, but I think it's quite weird that a killer gets buffed and still loses out on pick rate percentages. It is what it is. And here's something that I've felt. The Clown gains 4 places. He was formerly known as our place number 23. Now he's inside our top 20 and he has a pick rate of 2.41%, gaining 0.41 percentage points. And I feel like I have played against the Clown quite heavily the last time, the last, you know, 3 to 6 months, and it's just insane. I don't like playing against him. I don't like looping him because I feel like he's so oppressive. That's what I feel like, because I can't loop him. He shuts down every loop so importantly, and then when I play as him, I just feel so powerless. It is absolutely baffling how I can have so many different experiences with the Clown. Long story short, place 19, the Clown. The Death's Trapper is in a good position. And I just want you to emphasize this because there's traps spawn sometimes outside of the map, if you really think about it, or sort of a way where you have to spend like 10 to 20 seconds to even get there. It's hilariously bad. It's hilariously bad. A trap is one of the worst killers without any hesitation. If you have someone who is constantly harassing your traps, you have a big problem, because the developer said this. The Trapper loses 4 places, loses 0.6% in pick rate percentages, and has now 2 consecutive 0.5% losses in a row. With that being said, he's our place number 18, and be prepared for him to drop even further if they don't address the problems that his kid have accurately. At the moment, they don't do that, and as we figured out, they don't plan to do that in any reasonable time. So that is a thing for the Trapper, and it's sad to see, you know, DBD's cover artist, in a sense, to be, you know, be drowned in the game. What's this English? I don't know. Whatever. Let's go. Oh yeah, right. Billy also exists. Place 17, gains 2 places, gains 0.27% in pick rate percentage, ended up at 2.68%, and that's about it. Lovely stuff for Billy. GG. Deathslinger gains 0.42% in pick rate percentages, coming from 2.5, now has 2.92%. He stays, however, in the same spot in our place number 16, and what that says is basically that the middle class is increasing a bit in pick rate percentages, because you see that everyone here gains, but not really gains many positions. But anyways, Deathslinger in place 16 is rightfully deserved love. The Skull Merchant released on place 13, the Singularity releases on place number 15 with a pick rate of 3.09%. And I don't really know who to blame here. Is it the player base? Is it the devs for making him too weak? Because he started out being horrendously weak. I can't really hide that fact, but I've played more games with him, and the more I play him, I don't really know who the weak link really is. Is it the Singularity, or is it us not understanding how he works properly? Because I need to say, if you know what you're doing, in those instances, you just have to, you just play very much better, and you see the gameplay in the background. It is awesome, and it is so satisfying to play with them. Long story short, I think the very weak release has hurt him quite a bit, and this stats here haven't quite recovered from that big hurt. With that being said, place number 15 for the Singularity makes him one of the weakest releases ever in pick rate percentages. However, his time will come. After 2 consecutive top 10 appearances, Baba falls outside of the top 10. And this time, it's quite considerable. He loses 5 places, also loses 0.66% in pick rate percentages, ending up at 3.11%. And he now is our place number 14. Am I sad about it? Not really, because I don't like being face scammed. Am I sad about the casual Baba that plays normally? Oh yeah, absolutely. But besides that, I think the position for him is absolutely deserved. Staying in the range between 10th and 15th is the Doctor. Yes, he gains 2 places, but he also only gains 0.05% in pick rate percentages. And there's nothing else to add. He wasn't changed for a long time. I don't think he will ever get touched again. I mean, maybe there are some changes to him when meta changes, but for now he's in a good spot in any considerable aspect. Oni is our second biggest beneficator from this update. I don't know why that is, but he gains 5 places and also gains 0.75% in pick rate percentages, going from 2.5 to 3.25%. I've also found some fun playing Oni recently, and I just can say, if you haven't played him yet, try him out. It's hard to get used to him, but when you do, he feels absolutely satisfying. And also his skill curve and his skill ceiling is quite high, so you can absolutely learn, some nasty tricks with him that will make you feel like the most powerful killer on Earth. The last time around, the nurse has fallen 5 places. This time, she is falling a further 3 places. This means she is fallen 8 places in total in the course of just 1 chapter. And the nerf now finally takes its toll. She loses 0.8% in pick rate percentages, despite still being one of the strongest killers in game. And to be fair, I couldn't be happier about it. In this update, the spirit got slightly nerfed, and I think we'll see some effects of this when it comes to the next list in the next mid-season update. She gains 2 places, but it's the same as the Doctor. She, only gains slightly in pick rate percentages. 0.01 in this case right here, ending up at 3.55. In the next 2 places we find 2 anomalies. 2 place gain for the Knight, 0.09% loss, ending up at 3.63%. I mean, it's kind of logical when he falls down now. His tome runs out, he is lesser played day by day, and I think he will end up in between 10 to 20th place. I don't think he will fall lower because he's quite fun to play, although he's very hated by the community, but I still feel that, he is very fun to play if you get the hang of him. If you know, like, the tricks, like the fact that he's got disappear when you unhook someone and yada 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 yada. If you know those tricks, I think he's very enjoyable. Long story short, he ends up at place number 9. And to make it very short, the same also goes for the shape. He gains 2 places, loses 0.06. It's another anomaly, ending up at 3.69. Very nice indeed. And there's nothing else to say other than that I still think that they should change his add-ons because they're outdated as fuck. But I say this every single time, so who the hell cares anymore? Despite being nerfed ever so slightly in almost every single patch, Nemesis loses 1 place and also 0.64% in pick rate percentages, ending up at 3.94%. Because his zombies, each time the bots get updated, get also updated and changed, get more awareness, and just be better players or better zombies overall. I feel like when I play him that they get way more consistent, and that they are way more consistent nowadays, and that actually helped me out way more. And I think that was one of the biggest problems with the zombie anyways, that they were always so stupidly inconsistent that they never helped you in any kind of way. And when they did in games, you were kind of like winning those games anyway, right? Besides that, let us not talk too long about the render that I've never fixed. So, Nemesis, place 7. And you could roughly say the same about Wraith. The only difference being that he's not inconsistent because he's just a bad killer overall. However, he loses 1 place, he loses 0.34% in pick rate percentages, ending up at 4.36%. Whew, that was tough to say. And yeah, I mean, he won't ever change, will he? Will he ever get any... Nah, I don't think so. I think the devs are pretty happy with him. And I can promise you that this will be our last anomaly of this list. Place number 5 goes to Ghostface. He gains 2 places and therefore he is going from place number 7 to place number 5. And he is also kicking Wraith and Nemesis down in the process. He loses out 0.16% in pick rate percentages, ending up at 4.38%. He's fun to play, he's licensed, and I think that's the reason why his place number 5 is absolutely deserved. Missing out on the 5% mark is Legion. He stays in the same position, only gains 0.13% in pick rate percentages, and therefore, as I said, ends up at 4.99%. There's nothing else to say. They got changed a while ago, like roughly a year ago, and ever since, they are in a very good position. Blight for me is one of those killers I don't like facing at all. I just have a hard time playing against him. I never know how to juke him, and when I play against an experienced Blight, I always want to disconnect immediately. He takes the bronze medal here, but however he loses 0.36% in pick rate percentages, which I'm not too sad about. He ends up at 5.16%, and you see him every other game, which is fine. You don't see him as often, which is also very fine. But besides that, I hope that he never gains and comes even close to 6 or 7%, because that would hurt my guts too much. And the biggest loss in pick rate percentages goes to the Huntress. He loses out 2.38% in pick rate percentages, ending up at 5.65, and in my opinion, she still appears way too often. I don't really know what to say to you guys, but what I hate more than Blights is Huntresses. I don't know why, but I can't play against Huntresses. When I see the streamers, right, Aaron playing against Huntresses, it feels like the easiest task ever. But when I play against Huntress, I feel like the biggest noob in the entire trial, and I just want to disconnect. But not like I wanted to disconnect by like in a Blight game. No. I just want to disconnect even harder. You know, I want to just actually, I just want to throw up my whole monitor and just, you know, quit playing the game entirely. Too bad I earn money with this, you know, shit sometimes. Jesus Christ, yeah, there, I said it. Huntress is our place number 2. She freaks me out though, massively. And when someone loses place 1, someone has to gain place 1, and this time around it's the Mastermind again. She has the biggest increase in player numbers, gains 2.77%. Ends up at 10.39%, which is an absurd number if you think about it. And yes, you see him very, very often. But for me, it's fine. I like playing against him because his counterplay is nice. It's nice to loop him, and I think he's just a fun killer to play and to play against. I'm very happy that Huntress and Mastermind have like a battle here, because otherwise the top would be very, very boring indeed. Yeah. Mastermind takes the gold medal, our place number 1, with a pick rate percentage of 10.39%. And this concludes this video. Are you happy with this list? Tell me down below in the comments. And now, sub to the channel, like this video, and obviously, don't forget to join my Discord as well. With that being said, love you guys.